Tiger fans, what's going on, guys? So, remember how I came on here last week and I had said that don't get too wrapped up in everything, and these upcoming next couple series are big for the Tigers because, they're coming off a nice road trip and they're kind of pulling you in. Torque's hot, Green's hot, Carb's hot, offense is looking great. Now, all of a sudden, we come off of these last two series, and it is literally the same exact crap as we've been experiencing this entire season. Now, before we get into the debacle that was the Houston Astros, let's do this, and let's just let's talk about the Cubs. So like I had said last week, the Cubs are a team that can score some runs. They're a team that's been good. They're a team that their offense has been good. And the Tigers had an opportunity to win this series. Game one of this series was actually a really good game. This series wasn't bad. Even though the Tigers had lost 2 of 3 from them, there was a ball that Nick Madrigal hit, I think, in the top of the 8th inning. I have no idea, one, how he hit this ball. 2, how he was able to keep it fair. And 3, how he was able to turn it into a double. He was literally leaning back out of the way. And he somehow hit a ball as he was practically falling down third base line. He got a double out of it. The Cubs scored a couple of runs, and the Tigers lose that first game. It was basically it. And Tigers offense did good that game. 6 runs. I believe that was Parker Meadows' debut. He got a single that game, got the hit out of the way real quick. And we're going to touch on him in this video too. Second game of the series, the Tigers take, and this was actually a really good game because the Tigers were down quick and ended up scoring. The Cubs scored 3 and the Tigers scored 4. And this was like a slugfest of the game. It wasn't until after the starters were out of the game and the bullpens came in did this game actually start to settle down some. It was actually really surprising to see the Tigers win a kind of game like this. It doesn't hurt, but Kerry Carpenter has been extremely hot and, had some big hits this game. And it was just a nice victory, to see them win a slugfest, which is something that we're not privy to. The last game of the series is the one that hurts the worst because the Tigers were basically getting their asses wrecked until the later innings of this game. They get the bases loaded, and Kerry Carpenter hits a freaking game-tying grand slam, and the Tigers bullpen ends up blowing it. Now, this bullpen's been starting to show chinks in the armor about the last month. And you can't really be surprised, and you can't really start stomping your feet and crying about it because this bullpen has been used a lot. And this bullpen has been tested. And there's a lot of appearances on most of those arms. There's a lot of appearances that they've had to cover a lot of games, especially when Erod was hurt and Tarek Skubal was working his way back, all the bullpen days. But this Vasquez guy that they got from the Phillies, he fucking sucks. I have never seen a guy that his whole sole purpose was to get out left-handed pitching, and he can't get out left-handed pitching. I get he's got a good slider, and I get his purpose. He's supposed to throw the funky delivery and, throw breaking balls, and he's supposed to be able to get out right-handers a little bit, but he can't get out anybody. This guy has been a dumpster fire every single time he's on the mound. All he throws is sliders. His fastball's terrible. I can see why that's all he does is throw his sliders. He has no command with any of it. It makes no sense. Lately, every single time you either see Jose Cisnero or Vasquez on the mound, it's basically like they're waving the white flag. They've been inconsistent. They've had no ability to get big outs. And almost every single time, really, in any of these games, really, between the Astros and the Cubs, one of those two guys were on the mound, they were giving up runs. Now, even Tyler Holton, and we're going to touch on this Astros series, but even Tyler Holton, he got his shit lit up today. He gave up 2 home runs. And this is a guy that an ERA under 2. And I'm not about to dog Tyler Holton, because Tyler Holton's been really, really good, especially for a rookie and how they got him. But you can just see, like, this bullpen's fading, and it's fading fast. Basically, Alex Lane's pitched a little bit better, but the amount of innings he's got on his arm this year, and Jason Foley, he had given up his first home runs in Minnesota a couple weeks back. So, his stuff might be fading a little bit. Cisneros terrible. That Vasquez guy's terrible. I like Brendan White, but, he's only so good. And Bo Brisky, he's been good, but he's been getting hit up a little bit lately. And Will Vest has been really bad. And he was a big arm for a minute, especially when he came back from Toledo from injury. So, their biggest strength is now starting to become a weakness. On top of, you come into this homestand where, Torque and Gary Carpenter are just having contests. Like, they're out there, having a home run derby. Who's going to hit a home run today? Or are we going back to back again? And now Torkelson is in the midst of an 0 for 16. Carpenter's still hit a little bit, but now Torkelson's in an 0 for 16. Riley Green's average fell from 309 to he's almost under 290 now, and he's kind of going through it. There was quite a few pitches today against Justin Verlander that a couple weeks ago, Riley Green's probably putting those in right field for a home run, where some of these fastballs were. He's just late on fastballs. Right now, he's just a titch behind him. You could see, like, if you go back and rewatch his at-bats today, really over the last couple weeks, he's kind of really cheating on the fastball, and he's following a lot of things back to the screen because he's just late and underneath it. And the same thing with Spencer Torkelson. When he was going through that home run stretch where he had 6 home runs in 8 days or something like that, he wasn't missing fastballs, and he certainly wasn't getting fooled on breaking balls. And right now, he had a couple of hard-hit balls this series against Houston, so I don't think his swing is, going to tail back the other way. I just think right now he's the league adjusted to his adjustment, and he has to do it again. He has to go back the other way. And I don't think we're about to see him struggle for the last 5 weeks. I just think he needs to just smack one again, hit a home run, and he's got to refine it. Because it only takes one solid hit to, find your swing again and find that good feeling that he had. But they dropped 2 or 3 from the Cubs, right? And just like I had said in last week's video, you can't believe this team's success when they do have success. And I'm so tired of reading moronic Tiger fans that I read something today that some guy was comparing us to the Seattle Mariners and showing the Mariners standings and how they made up 7 games on the division because of their win streak and trying to compare it to the AL Central. And the delusion of certain Tiger fans to think that this team, because even though the division is terrible, they have a shot at still somehow making a playoff spot because of the division's weak. Seattle has really good pitching all the way through. Seattle was a good team that was playing mediocre. And all of a sudden, J-Rod has 17 hits in, 4 games? The Tigers don't have... They haven't gotten 17 hits in the last 3 games, I don't think. How idiots can think a team that has almost a minus, 170 or 160, maybe 180 after today, somewhere in there run differential, and compare it to a team that's got a positive run differential, compare it to a team that's got a deeper lineup, compare it to a team that's got a better starting rotation. How fucking stupid can you be to think that this team that can't beat anyone out of the AL Central, that gets destroyed by the AL East, how stupid are you to believe because the division's bad that they're going to go on a run? They've only won more than 3 games or more than 2 games one time since May. They've had 1 3-game win streak. Guys, now I know most of the people that watch my videos, they're not that kind of a delusional Tigers fan. But guys, can we please get real here about playoff expectations? Can we please get real here about what this team is? They got hot. Some of these guys went on a bit of a tear. The power showed for a second. They ain't that squad. I'm sorry. Because if they were, then Kerry Carpenter and Torkelson would both have 45 home runs right now, and Green would be in the high 20s. And their rotation would be better. It's just like, to have to explain to people about how delusional they are and to think, let's just get into it, about the Astros series. The Tigers got mutilated. Absolutely destroyed. Again, people thinking that this team, because they had a hot week, because they were able to take some games from Cleveland, because the offense got hot, that they were going to have a chance. What did I say? And I'm going to read it again. You can't believe it. You can't let them suck you back in because they're not that good. Again, this week is a prime example because of what I said last week. They did it again. A chance to take the series from the Cubs. They couldn't. They didn't. They were in all three of those games, but they couldn't get the big hits to do it, and they couldn't get enough pitching on the back end of the road, back end of the bullpen because it's starting to crack. Then Houston comes in, fucking destroys them game one. Destroys them. The game was over by the fifth inning. Game two was one of the best Tiger games of the year. They end up walking off on Presley with 2 outs in the ninth. Parker Meadows has his first Major League home run, which I think is ironic that his first Major League home run was a walk-off, just like Riley Green's first Major League home run was a walk-off. Absolute bomb missile. You're thinking, great, sweet, tied the series. This is a chance. This could be a statement series victory from the Astros. Come into today's game facing Justin Verlander again. Like I had said, Torkelson's in a slump, mini slump. Riley Green's in a bit of a slump. Basically, Kerry Carpenter and Parker Meadows, he's been drawing a lot of walks. I've been impressed with his at-bats. They get the bases loaded on Justin Verlander, couldn't score a fucking run. They had so many opportunities in the first 4 innings of this game to absolutely mutilate Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander hit 3 batters. I think he had maybe 3 walks. Couldn't do anything against him. Nothing with runners in scoring position. And then you get into later innings of this game. Astros just bombing the ball. Absolutely bombing the ball off the Tigers. They go into the 9th inning. And it's 17-0. Because Carson Kelly's on the mound. And the Astros didn't give up at bats. Still cranking home runs like they're playing slow pitch softball. Pathetic performance today. And you know something? Someone's going to look at that box score and they're going to see, because Miggy hit a home run in the 9th. And I think Baby McKinstry did. I don't know. I turned it off because it didn't matter. They're going to look at that box score and they're going to see, wow, what an absolute blowout. The Tigers never had a chance, but they did. That was a winnable game. They had plenty of chances to put their foot on the throat early, and they couldn't hit runners in scoring position. Strikeout after strikeout. Jake Rogers, strikeout. Spencer Torkelson, and when Spencer Torkelson's going bad, when he's kind of like in the middle of it, so many pop-ups to first base. And there was one to Jonathan Singleton, and he got second life, he dropped it, didn't do anything with it. I think he had a walk today. Riley Green had so many hittable pitches to hit, just couldn't do it. And teams are kind of staying away from Kerry Carpenter, but Kerry Carpenter had opportunities with pitches and just didn't do it. 17-0? What? 17-0? And you get your shit wrecked in the first game too? How are you supposed to believe that this team's going to be able to beat a bad team like the Yankees? Their offense is just as bad as ours. They literally have one player right now. It's Aaron Judge. But do I think they could take a series from them? They should be able to. Because the Tigers' their starting pitching is okay-ish enough. And their bullpen, in theory, is good. But if they have to go to Cisnero, if they have to go to Will Vest, and like Tyler Holton today was giving up home runs like crazy. And I'm not going to shit on him because he's been good. He was due to have a clunker. But it's like, am I supposed to believe that they can hold these leads late now? That's how their bullpen's been starting to fall apart. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing today to watch that performance, considering how many runners in scoring position they had, and they were getting one hit with all those runners in scoring position. That game should have been flip-flopped the other way. If the Tigers were a team that were worth a shit with hitters, runners in scoring position, and they were a team worth a shit that could get a clutch hit, they should have never been in a position that is a pathetic loss. That is a absolutely demoralizing loss, especially considering you had an opportunity to take yet another game from Justin Verlander. You had yet another opportunity to take a big series against a good team, and you were in position to. You had all the chances in the world. Just couldn't do it. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I'm going to reference it again because I cannot reiterate and stress this point enough. You can't believe anything this team does well because at the end of the day, they're still not that good. At the end of the day, Spencer Torkelson, I think, just turned 23 or 24 this week. It was his birthday. At the end of the day, it's still a very young team. At the end of the day, their lineup is very weak. It's, one nice thing about that stretch is at least we got to see like a little bit of a flash in the pan what this lineup could potentially be if they had a little bit more depth to go around like Carpenter and Torkelson and Green. Because when they get hot, the Tigers can slug. They can hit some homers. I mean, between Torkelson and Carpenter, there's 43 home runs between those two guys, which is great. Torkelson, although he slowed off, he's going to probably have 28 or 29 home runs by season's end, which is fantastic. And Carp will probably have 25 or 26. And it's been great to see, glimpses of the future. But at the end of the day, this team's just not good. It's not good. But got to see Parker Meadows play. That boy can play some center field. I told you guys, Riley, being the ultimate team player he is, had no quarrel, no quarrels about, playing any of the corner spots. The Tigers already played him both in left and right field already, which is great. Help keep him, from diving for so many balls, help keep his legs a little bit fresher, because they can't afford to lose his bat like they did. Because that 9-game losing streak, if that didn't happen, then I would be one of those dumbasses saying, this team still has a shot at the division. Because I legitimately think they would have. They were, 28-29 when Green and Erod went down together. I think if Riley Green doesn't get hurt, because he was just absolutely carrying the offense, I think this team would still be under 500, but I think they'd be like 2 or 3 games under 500 and not, 12 or 13 games under 500. It was 10 games. I think it legitimately cost them 10 games in the win column without him being there. Now, I know WAR would tell you differently if you do wins above replacement, but what WAR can't calculate is a clubhouse, and what WAR can't calculate is how certain players affect the lineup and the pulse of the lineup and how a lineup moves. Because that Tigers team was a completely different lineup in May when Riley Green was in it because of how many hits he was getting, how consistent he was, him and McKinstry both, and it was just a different thing. And after he got hurt, it just was not the same. And they had sunk. They had that near 10-game losing streak. And that was the season, pretty much, right there, because they've yet to even come close to anything that they had done in May. But I don't know, man. The season, September 1st is this upcoming week. I'm really hoping Justin Honeyman-Malloy gets an opportunity this week. He gets called up, and we get to see him and Parker Meadows. I think Colt Keith is starting to heat up a little bit, but I still think he's going to end up being in AAA the entirety of the year. I hope I'm wrong, but I still think he's going to be in AAA the entirety of the year. But I'm really excited for this week. I don't know what they're going to do against the Yankees. They're probably going to do some shit where they'll get 3 or 4 taken from them or they'll split, even though that's a series they could take. It's been great watching Parker Meadows. I'm stoked about that. Hope Torkelson turns around a little bit this week. And, we don't need him to hit 6 home runs in a week. We just need him to do what he was doing and just hit the ball hard everywhere. Like, I'll take some doubles. You don't need to have 6 home runs. I'll take some doubles and have Kerry Carpenter keep making consistent contact and keep having Parker Meadows, drawing walks and having good ABs. He hasn't been chasing too much. Try to get Riley Green a little bit more on track. And, yeah, Hopefully the offense looks a little bit more like it did toward the back end of the road trip, and hopefully the bullpen settles back down a little bit. You can't blame them. Like I said, they pitched a lot, guys, and they've done a bang-up job for the most part all year. But, yeah, I still can't believe there's people that have a fallacy this team has a playoff shot. I don't got crack for smoking. It must be good, because they don't. So, Yankees coming to town. Rosters expand this week. Here's to hoping Justin Henry Malloy gets a shot. And we're talking about him next week. He had made his Major League debut on Saturday or next Sunday. That'd be sick. I'd be super excited for that. And keep watching Parker Meadows. What a debut. He already has more home runs than Austin, which is kind of a crazy thought that he has more home runs as a Tiger than his older brother does in almost 2 years. So, all right, guys. That's all I got for you this week. Appreciate you watching, as always. And new baseball banter will be sometime this week, too. I don't know which day, but it will be up sometime this week. And hopefully next week we're talking about Justin Henry Malloy's debut. So I got for you guys this week. Have a good one. Go Tigers.